I just have such a heart for community building. I love coffee, I love people, but the idea of being able to create spaces where people can actually get to know each other, but there's such a like connected disconnectedness. Like we're constantly connected to each other through technology, but not actually embodied, especially after school. It's so hard to just make and maintain friends as an adult, especially like LA County is an area where it's very transitory. People come in, they maybe like pursue dreams and entertainment, and then they go. Sometimes when I hear people addressing such tangible needs like hunger and housing and all these things that I'm like, oh man, those are super important. When I hear myself talking about wanting to, address isolation and community building, it feels like kind of a paler issue, but it's where my heart is at.
Well, I love the San Gabriel Valley.
Welcome to the My SGV podcast.
So I grew up here and I still live in Alhambra.
I was raised in between Temple City and Alhambra.
Eventually resided in South San Gabriel.
Our mission is to capture and share the stories of the people of the San Gabriel Valley.
Monterey Park has pretty much been my whole life.
Well, I'm proud to say that I was born and raised in the San Gabriel Valley.
We believe our diversity is what makes the SGV great. And no matter where you are from, in the San Gabriel Valley, you will feel welcome. All right, SGVers, welcome back to another episode of the My SGV podcast. Thank you for tuning in. If you are new here, we bring you the stories of the people of the San Gabriel Valley. And if you are a returning listener, thank you so much for spending this time with us. We do appreciate it. Oh, Melissa, I'm so glad that you're here. I actually wanted to check out your bike. When I saw that, your little reel, we're like, you may see me on this bike or this bike. I was like, that is really cool. What kind of bike do you ride?
So for the motorcycle, it's a sport bike, a Yamaha FC6R.
Oh, awesome. And do you like to go fast on it?
For official police records, no, I drive the speed limit every time.
Oh, okay. But like in this fantasy world, if there wasn't any, would that version of Melissa go fast?
Yes, it is. It's pretty fun. And especially when you're getting to pass traffic, that's the best part. Yeah.
Do people move over for you on the freeways?
Sometimes. I would say 80% of the time. Another maybe 15%, they just don't notice me because they're on their phone. So many people on their phones driving, sometimes with kids in the back, which is a little heart-wrenching. And then the other 5%, I think, get really jealous and actually purposely will scooch over and try to block me.
I've seen videos on the internet like that.
Yeah. And now I know way better than to try to retaliate because that always ends badly for the motorcycle.
Yeah. I love when I move over and then they like give me this little wave with their hand. I always feel really good.
People tell me that a lot, so I try to be really generous. Sometimes if it's really bumper to bumper, I get too nervous to let go of the handlebar, so I'll just give a little nod just to try to still acknowledge. But I know people always tell me, like, I love when I get the biker peace sign. Okay.
Yeah. Well, people probably still don't have a clue of what we're going to get into here. But before that, thank you to Paris Baguette for sponsoring the show with the delicious treats and pastries every week for our guests. Go check them out in the city of San Gabriel on Las Tunas and say hi to Jason for us. Today's guest is a social entrepreneur with deep roots in the San Gabriel Valley. Raised in Covina and West Covina and now living in Pasadena, her work has always been guided by a love for people, places, and connection. She holds a bachelor's in social work and a master of divinity from Azusa Pacific University, and her career has spanned worlds of nonprofits, marketing and event production, and specialty coffee. She's the founder of the Pasadena Coffee Passport and the Highland Park Coffee Passport, two projects that invite people to explore their neighborhoods one cup at a time. These passports aren't just about coffee. They're about creating intentional community through shared spaces and local discovery. Now she's working on her next big idea, the Nightcap Collective, a neighborhood-based social club designed to help people connect offline, build friendships, and rediscover what it means to be in community with one another. Please welcome to the show, Melissa Spolar. Melissa, welcome to the show.
Thanks so much, Russell. That wording was beautiful. You took what I gave you and just made it amazing.
Oh, thank you. I've said this many times before, but I thought at the time I wasn't doing these kind of intros. I was like, how great would it be to like super hype them up if I could, So like the start of the show is like this,
I love it.
So
yeah, it's great.
So that's all you there, huh?
That's all me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now that the listeners know that you're the creator of this coffee passport, I just want to share that when I first came about it and I'm looking at it, so much of the detail and creativity, I was like, this person really did a lot. A lot.
Yeah, I know that there's this other cafe passport that's doing a bunch of major cities, and they kind of crank in like, I don't know, 40, 50 shops into them. But living in Pasadena now, what am I going on, 8 years? I know these shops well, and that's what I wanted. I wanted people to feel sort of a sense of each coffee shop on each page. So I hope it feels like it's made by someone who knows these shops well. That was my hope.
Yeah. Well, the show is about you. So what is your connection to the San Gabriel Valley?
Yeah. Like you said, born and raised here. I consider SGV my home. Even though it has lots of great, lots of mixed, some bad, I loved growing up here. I truly hope to never leave, especially with SoCal weather. But yeah, that sort of like 2-10-10 stretch is that's my comfort zone. It's my home.
And you grew up in Covina, West Covina.
Yeah, lived just on the border into West Covina, but went to Covina High. Covina is really where I primarily hung out. So.
And what was life like growing up there for you?
Overall, good. I will say I lived in a neighborhood that had some occasional sketchy moments, but overall, grew up, if anyone knows, going to the airplane park. That's not what it's officially called. That's just what we always called it, because there's this giant fake airplane in the middle. I don't know if you've been to that one.
No.
It's over I don't know if it's right on the border of Covina, West Covina.
It's a playground for kids, or is it a museum?
It's a playground. It's like a park.
A park.
A playground that has this giant airplane. We
Wow.
just called it the airplane park. I know it has an official name. That's something else. But it has like a little building, like community center, and then playground, and it was great. And then
Like a decommissioned airplane or a fake one?
a fake.
Oh, fake one. Okay.
Concrete, I think.
Oh,
It's
okay.
made out of. Yeah. But yeah, going to the airplane park after school with friends, going to Denny's after band tournaments or going to Starbucks after school. It was a pretty good childhood looking back on it.
And what kind of child were you?
A little rambunctious, a climber. I was always, my mom has told me so many stories of every time she turned her back, I was climbing out of something or on top of something. Broke my arm as a 1-year-old climbing a dresser.
Oh, no.
Once on a camping trip, disappeared. I was apparently 30 feet up a tree. I always wanted to be doing something, often climbing trees, playing with friends. So relatively social and very active.
Yeah, okay, so there's like an adventurous spirit in you from like a very early age.
I would say so, yeah. And I grew up with 4 older brothers. So when you have that much male energy in the household that you have to compete with, and at least for me, I turned out always trying to keep up.
Interesting. You said compete with. So are they like protective? Are they always messing with you, like toughening you up? Like, what is that like?
Not protective. I had the kind of brothers who their attitude towards me was everything I had to do, I had to figure it out. So you're going to figure it out. Definitely a lot of teasing, a lot of pranks, a tiny bit of trauma from their pranking, but I will say as adults, we all got along great. There was some stuff in childhood that was a little wild, as you can imagine with 4 brothers, but we did play together a lot, but there were also moments of, you can't play video games with us, you're a girl, you can't do this and that because you're a girl. So I was always trying to prove myself.
Oh, wow. Okay, now I'm seeing the genesis of it. Yeah. Wow. And what's the age range there?
So I do have one sister who's the oldest. We're 10 years apart, and then 4 boys between us. So everyone's about 2 years apart.
Big family.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so 10 years is kind of tough to have like a sibling relationship, I would imagine.
I will say my sister and I as adults, we're relatively close. I mean, she's in another state and has kids, so it's mostly talking on the phone every week or two, seeing each other when we can. And then, yes, with big families, I'm sure other people can understand this, but when you have a lot of siblings, you naturally tend to have sort of your cliques. So the younger 3, we tended to be closer just because we were going to school together and often interested in the same things at the same time. So I'm definitely closer generally to my 2 brothers who are closer in age.
Interesting.
Yeah.
My friends at the Allers, they have 6 children, and 4 girls, the 4 oldest, and then the 2 youngest are the boys.
Oh, interesting.
And they always refer to themselves as either like the girls, the boys, the odds, or the evens.
Wow.
Yeah, and they have their little, groups or whatever.
Yep.
Yeah, interesting. Wow. Was there a moment where you were trying to prove yourself as a young child and you actually got to like show them that you can do what they were saying that you couldn't?
The one memory that popped in my head when you asked that was mowing the lawn. Even though I'm sure so many people would be happy to never have to mow the lawn, I was never given that chore growing up because I was told you're a girl and you're not strong enough to do that. And so I would always push and like fight to be able to mow the lawn just because I wanted to prove that I could do it. And I struggled. I'm pretty sure I was bent over at like a 45-degree angle to like get it across the grass as I think a 9-year-old. I did it. It wasn't the smoothest process, but I did it.
I think it may have been more to do with you being 9 than being a girl, because that's
true.
That's pretty young to push a lawnmower.
Yeah. Well, my brothers were doing it, so I wanted to do it.
Oh, but they were older than you.
They were. Yeah, it's true.
Was it in like good fun, or these things that they really believed and tried to make you believe it also?
It's a great question. I mean, I'm not going to fault them too much as just children growing up, but I did grow up in a house that was a little more traditional in terms of like after family dinners, the girls are the one that goes and like clean up. They're the ones that are prepping the food, and then they're the ones that are cleaning up. Although my dad often, he just can't sit still, so he would jump in to help with cleaning. But there was a little bit more of like traditional gender roles, both in my household, kind of in the church that we were at growing up, and so I don't think it was malicious, but there was this idea that some things are for men, some things are for women.
Wow. I'm not saying wow, like that's revelatory to me. Like I know that this happens.
Yeah.
So was your dress sort of forced upon you as well? Like you had to wear
for church. My mom was completely against wearing pants to church if you were a girl. And so that was, oh man, I have so many memories of us arguing on Sunday mornings because I was, kind of a tomboy. I don't know if that term is well received these days, but again, I wanted to fit in with the boys. And so I always wanted to wear pants, let alone it's much harder to climb a tree and, climb walls when you're in a dress or a skirt. And so that was a constant fight. Thankfully, the rest of the week, it was more of, kind of wear whatever you want. But for Sundays, I had to wear a dress. And I think I finally won that struggle as like a 12-year-old. I think that's when I finally got permission to wear pants to church. Partly because it was becoming more normalized. I was like, all these other girls at church are wearing pants. So my mom finally gave in.
Or was there sports in your household? Did you play sports with your...
Oh, yeah, absolutely. All of us did different sports. So mine was cross country and track primarily.
Oh, okay. Cross country.
Mm-hmm.
And what did you run in track?
The 800 and the 1200. Well, 832 primarily.
Wow, that's fascinating. I ran the 800.
Oh, cool.
And I did cross country, but not by choice. Like the basketball team made us do it.
Oh, shoot.
If we weren't playing another sport, we had to do it.
Dang.
Yeah.
Wow, that's intense. We didn't have 4 sports, thankfully.
Yeah. I don't know if I told this on this show. So freshman year cross country for the league finals, like the Almont League would come, and they said everybody, the top 14 will get a medal. I was like, okay, great, I'll try for that. So I was like, I'm just gonna stay in the pack and try and stay 14. And we're coming around, I can see the finish, and I was like, yeah, okay, I'm number 11. I was like, okay, I'm number 12. I'm number 13. I'm number 14, and I could see 15 like catching me, right? And I'm running around to the finish, and they're closing on me, and I'm going as fast as I can. As soon as I crossed the line, I threw up. And I was like,
hey, any runner worth their salt has either thrown up or just fallen to the ground at the finish of a race because they gave it their all.
I didn't even know that was possible. I mean, I learned that lesson then.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh my gosh, that was horrible.
That's rough.
But I did get.
But you did it?
Yeah, I got 14th place.
Amazing. That's great.
So sorry for that little tangent. Okay, so you did the 800 and cross country. I'm more after like, what are the things in your life that sort of shaped who you are today, right? I can see now why you ride a motorcycle. It's sort of rebellious in nature, I guess, right? Like you're
I guess a little bit. To be honest, I actually attribute the motorcycle partly because it's rebellious, but honestly, the practicality of it for the amount of time and money that I save, that's what primarily interested me in it, and that's what's kept me on a bike. Yeah. I'm practical sometimes to a fault.
Practical to a fault.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, I will be frugal. I will do what I have to do, to get by.
Awesome. Did you have to fight for food amongst like your older brothers? No,
we were more of a fend for yourself household. Like, there's stuff in the fridge, make something of it, which unfortunately means a lot of my meals growing up, my mom would hate me for saying this, but the reality is a lot of times I would just like microwave quesadilla, not the most healthy. Every now and then we'd get like a family dinner and we all sit down, but everyone was kind of doing their own thing. So it was a little bit more fend for yourself, stuff's in the fridge, and most of us would often go for like the lazy option. As we've gotten older, we realize the importance of vegetables, and it's okay if something takes 20 or 30 minutes to prepare. And
you're growing up in this family with your older brothers and trying to prove yourself to them. Does that carry on into high school?
I would say so. I think there was still that idea of wanting to kind of fit in and be part of what they were doing. I would say, once we hit adolescence, there was a big push on my brother's side that they didn't really want me hanging out with them and their friends. I always wanted to. And so, I would say even in high school is when I kind of just started to realize, I have to figure out how to just become my own person. My teachers always knew me as Little Spolar. Like, I couldn't escape this idea of like being sort of, I don't want to say in my brother's shadow, but the idea of like wanting to really be my own person and be known for what I can do and not just being the little sister of other people. That was something that, especially in high school, started to become very felt. I didn't hate it. Part of it was like a little extra attention, I guess, from teachers. So it's not like it was terrible, but I think that's another piece of sort of like not necessarily having your own separate identity.
We've talked a little bit. I know that as an adult, you're aware of the oppressive nature of these gender roles, right?
Absolutely.
Were you aware of them as a teenager in high school?
I was aware of them, but more a little bit on a petty level, more of just, salty that I had to cook and clean sometimes when my brothers got to relax at family events or... I wouldn't describe that as salty. That's like a fairness thing. Oh, totally. I mean, I agree. I think there were times I would say there was a little bit of unfair expectations, and then maybe for both ways, because there were stuff that my brothers had to do that I wouldn't get asked to do because it was, not for girls. But it wasn't like this, deep philosophical frustration of like gender differences. It was more of just, I'm mad that I have to do this and my brothers don't, or that I can't do this and my brothers get to do it. It wasn't until I was an adult, and honestly fairly recently, that I really started to wrestle with it on a serious, deeper level.
Oh, okay. Okay, so like in high school, you just sort of like had this awareness of things not being fair or right because of that, but
it was
didn't dive deeply into it.
Yeah.
And who were you at that point? Like, were you aware of who you were and wanted to be?
Not really. No, I think even throughout high school and honestly my early 20s, I think I was just trying to follow the path that I was expected to follow. Like growing up, we were the kind of the household where it's, you had to achieve, you had to do well in school, you had to go to college, you got to get a job. So some of us had, dreams that, like, I really wanted to be a stunt woman when I was a kid. But my parents' response to that was, that's cute, you're going to go to college and you're going to get a job. So I think it wasn't until really post-college that I started to ask myself, what do I want to do? Not what's expected of me, but what do I actually want to do?
Is the dream dead?
I actually ended up in my early to mid-20s pursuing stunts for a few years. Really cool, interesting, hard experience. Obviously, it didn't pan out as far as a long-term career, but I'm glad I explored it.
Yeah, that's such a thing, right? Like, if a kid is passionate about it, like, why not support them and see, right?
Yeah. And I think for my parents, it was more of, well, the odds of you making it in something like that are slim. And so my parents, I mean, in some ways it's great, right? But they wanted us to be able to have stability. And that was going to be prioritized over pursuing a pipe dream.
I feel so sad for that. Everybody who's been in here, who's been successful, the common thread 100% is their passion. Their passion for it. Like, you can be mediocre or even good in this thing that we force you to do, or you can be great in this thing because you love it, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, which I'd say I'm thankful that now as an adult, I still sometimes have that little voice in my head of like, can you really do that? Does that make sense? Is that going to work out? But I have leaned into accepting the risk of it and knowing that when I'm like on my deathbed, I think this was a quote I heard somewhere, but I'm more likely to regret the things that I never tried than regret failing. And so I really leaned into that the past, I don't know, decade or so. Why not try? What really do I have to lose?
Yeah. When I was still training people, my average ages were like retired 60, 65 plus and young teenagers, right? And I really enjoyed those ages. But for the older ones, every single one regretted not spending time with their family. Every single one. And they were successful. They had the career, the job, all that. Every single one. That was what they were sad about.
Wow.
Yeah. And even with that lesson, it's still difficult for me, right? To just like be present in the moment and not be thinking about the next thing that needs to be done, right?
Yeah.
But okay, so you go to APU for both your undergrad and your graduate degrees.
Yeah, a few year gap in between. For my undergrad, I chose social work just because I had to pick something, and I thought I like helping people. I guess I'll go that route. And then I spent a few years in the workforce. I had like social work adjacent work and realized it really wasn't for me. And then, ended up completely pivoting, going to grad school for something I never planned to go to grad school for. But yeah, it's still evolving for me. I think I'm really just now feeling like I'm finding out what my passion is and what I really want to spend my energy and time investing in.
And what is that?
I just have such a heart for community building. I love coffee, I love people, but the idea of being able to create spaces where people can actually get to know each other, I think especially in this, I don't even have to explain it. People know that in this digital age we're in, and I know there's an author who has coined this term, but there's such a like connected disconnectedness. Like we're constantly connected to each other through technology, but not actually embodied. And I've heard from so many people over the years that especially after school, it's so hard to just make and maintain friends as an adult. I'm glad I grew up in this area, but I've heard from other people that LA, especially like LA County, is an area where it's very transitory. People come in, they maybe like pursue dreams and entertainment, and then they go. And so I've experienced isolation. I'm sure almost everybody has, and so I think that's just such a passion of mine. And I think sometimes when I hear people addressing such tangible needs like hunger and housing and all these things that I'm like, oh man, those are super important. Sometimes when I hear myself talking about wanting to, address isolation and community building, it feels like kind of a paler issue, but it's where my heart is at.
We held an in-person event at Blossom Market Hall in San Gabriel not too long ago, I think in March. And, it's a food event, right? We go there, we take pictures and create content, but you could see the energy of people actually like in the same physical space together. And now I'm putting a face and I can actually touch you. And I've seen all your stuff on Instagram, but now you're here in the flesh, right? Mm-hmm. And that there's something so powerful about that. Even like we've never done a remote show. Even just the energy of being in the same space here is like you can't replicate that online, right? And do you feel like, this should be a common thing for humans, right? But it's just so uncommon now.
Yeah, our technology and just our culture of hurry and productivity, it's really hard. just to have consistent, real, embodied community.
My wife has told me that I value what men value, meaning what can be produced, measured, recorded, and has a dollar thing, right? And that women's productivity of household and connection, because it's not tangible, because you can't put a price in it, is not highly valued. Which was, not easy for me to receive, but I have to honestly consider it because of my wife, right? And I'm like, wow. And she's pointing that out because oftentimes I get stuck in my own, I need to create and do, and because that's how there's value there, right? But I see you are also creating something that does have enormous value, but how do you measure that value, right?
Yeah, being able to measure connectedness, new friendships. Yeah, it's not as straightforward. Now, of course, there's the practical reality of being able to create something that's self-sustaining and that hopefully will come with some amount of, income for me to be able to invest my time and energy into it. So it's almost unfortunate that, of course, with capitalism, I still have to find a way to earn a profit, pay staff, hopefully pay myself for the amount of time I'll put into what I do. I think, our culture does put a huge emphasis on measurable success, and they want pretty quick ways to measure it. They're going to measure in numbers, in amount of profit. And, I don't know how much we want to get into this side tangent, but, churches especially can be guilty of this, of just focusing on numerical growth, numerical attendance, number of baptisms, all those things.
Yeah. Like a business.
Like a business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The absence of community and connection is definitely felt. I mean, I think a lot of us were feeling that in during the pandemic, right?
Absolutely.
Like when you cannot be with people, you feel it, right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, I felt it. I mean, I was living alone during the pandemic. I mean, I still do. And that was a rough time. Some people look back and they're like, the pandemic was great. I was just doing whatever I wanted to do. I'm like, oh my gosh, the pandemic was horrible for me. I don't miss it at all.
And what do you see as the value of building these communities and building real life connection?
There's so much about life that being with others is really what makes it worth it. I mean, obviously I know men and women can be wired differently in some ways, but I know for myself, I'll have a life experience and I just so badly want to share it, tell that story of what I experienced with somebody else. Just, and I love solo travel. I'll go and do these awesome trips. But that in and of itself, there's a little bit of a lack of fulfillment and enrichment in it until I get to go share about that with my friends and my family. And I think, I know there's, some sci-fi shows out there that imagine this reality where you can just sort of live in VR and do whatever you want. And I know without a doubt that, even if you lived in a reality where you had every tangible thing you could ever want, but you didn't have people with you, you didn't have genuine, deep relationships in that, it would be the most lonely, unfulfilling existence.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's actually the number one predictor of life, longevity.
Yeah, meaningful relationships.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Over a lot of other things that people would focus on, right?
Yeah.
Blood numbers, work, their health, exercise amount, musculature. This is number one. This is the number one predictor.
Yeah.
The quality of relationships, right? Not that you have to have an enormous amount of connections, but the quality of them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think, that's one thing that drew me to coffee shops originally was this idea of just this third space. I've spent a lot of my adulthood as a remote worker, and it's nice to be able to get out of your home and go work alongside people. But even then, I think there's so many public spaces or businesses that offer you a space to come be around other people, but not necessarily to meet new people. So you can go to a coffee shop, you can pull out your laptop and work. You might have a tiny bit of small talk with someone here or there or the barista, but you're not really like building like a deep relationship. And I'm sure anyone can relate to the idea of feeling alone in a crowded room. So I think, for me, as I started thinking about coffee shops and being a community hub, unless you're really creating intentional events, gatherings where people are coming in with that mindset to meet other people, to get to know other people, you're never really going to build like actual relationships.
Sure. Yeah. Wow. Have you heard of this concept of like body doubles in terms of like work, like just to have someone in the same physical space?
In film, yeah. Mm-hmm.
No, not in film.
Oh.
So like, let's say I'm struggling to get going on something and I'm just working alone. But if there's a person there with me, then I'm motivated to do it.
Oh,
And
I hadn't heard that term, but that tracks. Yeah.
We don't even have to be working on the same thing. We don't have to be discussing it, but just being in the same physical space can provide that like little bit of energy and momentum.
I believe that. Absolutely.
So when you were going out to these coffee shops all over Pasadena, were you just to yourself most of the time? Did you build any connections there with the people and shops?
Most of the time I was kind of sitting doing my own thing. I am an introvert. I do have a little bit of a harder time initiating conversation. I know some people, they're just like naturally able to strike up conversations wherever they go. One of my best friends, I swear we can never hang out without her making a new friend to the point of exchanging phone numbers. That's a gift I don't have. I think that's incredible. So every now and then I'd find like a natural way to be able to make conversation with someone, but it typically ended at quick exchange. Okay, well, have a nice day. That's it. And I know I'm not the only one who struggles in that. So I think I know whether it's coffee shops or just, for me, I've tried to go to events that are supposed to be social events trying to like meet new people. It's hard. I think it's especially hard because a lot of times in those spaces, people are coming with their partner or with their family or with a friend group, and they're not looking to get to know new people. They're there to focus on who they came with. So when you're out there trying to meet other people, but you don't necessarily have an in for it, it can be really tough.
A former guest on this show was describing that she's moved here from another state and struggles with this. I'm totally oblivious because, I'm married, I have kids, like this is my focus now. I have a small circle of friends, so I'm not in that like sort of zone, right? But she describes specifically people from Los Angeles just not really following up on engaging in pursuing friendship.
Yeah.
Is that what you experience as well?
Yes, and our generation is also so non-committal. So even when you might kind of have a lead on a friend, like you seem like you kind of click, you exchange socials or numbers, and you're like, okay, like when are you free? And either one or both of you are so busy that you're scheduling weeks out, or you say, hey, do you want to go to this event with me? Oh, maybe I'll let you know. So it's, I know there's plenty of people like me out there that really do want, I do have some amazing, incredible friendships, but also then as they get married and they have kids, like that changes. That's, not as consistent of a friendship. And so a lot of my adulthood has been spent trying to meet new friends where you can consistently see each other, spend time with each other. And yeah, people just being busy, people being non-committal, or just, finding the people in the first place, even though they're out there, people wanting that friendship. I don't know, it's so tough.
I can understand the busy part, but the non-committal always gets me. So I'm 46, and like if we made plans that we're gonna go to this hike that's 1 month away, and we're supposed to meet at this place at 5 a.m., I'm gonna be there at 5 a.m. at that day, and I don't need to confirm like 3, 4, 5 times before we get there or the day before. And I see this in people, in like they're just constantly reconfirming, and I'm like, dude, I already said I was going to be there.
Right.
Yeah. I never and if that person ends up being a flake, then that's just not the person that I'm going to hang out with.
Sure.
Like I just don't have time for that in my life. Right.
Totally.
But I can totally see how people are like, just always like, I don't know, maybe hyper vigilant against people canceling.
Oh yeah. No, I mean, so the non-committal piece alone is tough, right? Do you want to go to this event? Do you want to come to my party? Oh, maybe I'll stop by. I'll let you know. So not even committing to the plan in the first place. And then the odds of them flaking same day, also really high. So
Wow.
it's difficult.
I don't have time for people that have maybes.
Yeah, I've been in a season lately where two of my best friends are getting married this summer. Not to each other, to other people. And I'm so happy for them. But, with that comes not seeing them as often. So I've been in this season now for a few months of trying to make new friendships. And I'm thankful there's this group they do trivia every Tuesday night. So that's been great. That's one consistent thing where there's always going to be a few people show up. But other than that, I've connected with a handful of people that I'm like, hey, I'm looking for new friends. You want to hang out sometime? Yeah. And then 2 months go by and I can't get them to actually commit to do something. So I'm like, I'm trying. I keep asking around but there's not, other than the Meetup app. I don't know if you're familiar with that. So it's an app where I have an account for this too, but again, flakiness and people being non-committal. People can just create groups and public events that pretty much anyone can RSVP to. So that's one way, but it is tricky because they're typically people just relying on being able to meet in public places or in businesses or on hikes or things like that. So finding location for these groups is tough. So there's not often a lot of consistency in it. And also crazy amounts of flake out because it's online. People feel a little bit more free to RSVP and then never show up. It's a huge issue. And I say that as someone who's tried to organize many events through Meetup. People don't want to RSVP until they see a core hub has RSVP'd. And then typically you expect a 40 to 60% no-show rate.
This is so bizarre. This is so bizarre to me.
Millennial life.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
As a coach, right? I would often tell clients, people that I hope that you can get to a point where if someone asks you if you want to go to dinner on a Thursday, that you can just say no, thank you.
Yes.
And when they say, well, how come? And that you can just say, because I don't want to. and feel okay with that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just feel okay with that. Otherwise, you're making up excuses, you're lying, or you give them the false yes, and you already plan to back out later. Why not get to this place where you can just say no?
Yeah.
Right?
It's a hard skill for adults, a lot of adults to learn, yeah.
Well, why do you think that people have that difficulty?
Because they don't want to disappoint people. Or at least they don't want to disappoint people to their face, directly. They'd much rather disappoint when it feels a little bit couched. I think people, for some reason, feel like it's better to say yes and then day of throw out some sort of lame excuse for why they're not coming anymore, or to say maybe I'll stop by because they haven't technically committed to it. I will say for me as an introvert, I'm very comfortable just saying, I don't think I'm going to make it. I have a lot of social stuff the 2 days before, and I know I'm going to need a recharge day. And I guess I do feel just straight up saying I don't want to does feel a little harsh.
I say it as a sort of a joke, though.
Yeah. I typically, I'm not going to say pull the introvert card because it's a real thing. I know myself. I need to balance out social interaction with isolation. But I will say that, and every now and then I will say, I'm not sure if I'm going to go to that. I'm going to have to see how I feel, how much energy that I have. But for the most part, especially if someone's just asking me directly, hey, do you want to get coffee this weekend? Yeah, just give them a yes or a no and be ready to follow through on that, even if you're a little bit tired when you wake up that day. You're going to get coffee anyway, but yeah.
I feel like it's the same reason that people don't tell you the disappointing news right away, right? And I feel like it's a thought or belief that they have to, or they should, manage another person's emotions.
Yes.
Right? I think you're going to feel a certain way, so I'm going to control how you feel by not saying it.
Oh, yes.
Where you cannot. I can say something that's going to really upset you in the kindest, softest way, and you're going to get upset anyway, right? Mm-hmm. Or you can be the kind of person where I say something so horrific to you, but you're just okay, that's whatever, right? You can't.
Well, and really what it boils down to, from my perspective, is the person delivering the bad news, they don't want to experience that emotion. So even if, I'm hearing bad news, I am fully okay with the fact that I might cry, I might get angry, I'm going to have my emotions, and that's fine. I'm okay with that, and I know how to handle that. But the other person who doesn't want to be around emotion, they're going to try to curb that as much as they can.
Yeah. And you always know what the person who can't, like when they're trying to deliver the bad news, because it's always like, how are you doing today?
And you're like, spit it out.
Come on. Nothing good ever follows that.
No. Are you okay, right? Can you talk? Yeah.
Yeah. Chris Voss, I don't know if you're familiar with Chris Voss, but he's like, whenever you have bad news, you just tell him like, look, I have bad news. You give him a second to brace, and then you just tell him the bad news.
I like that approach. Right? Yes, absolutely.
Or to set the bar like it's really, really bad, and then just come back to what it is, right? Like something really terrible has happened. Like I totally forgot your drink that you ordered. Something like that. Like, where you're like, they brace for the worst, and they're like, oh, that's nothing.
Yeah. That's a much better approach.
So, Melissa, I wanted to get into your inspiration for the coffee passport, but let's take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
Sometimes, even the best of us can slip up. That's why the law offices of Scott Wormuth are here to pick you back up again.
And while they strive to get you the biggest compensation possible, oh my gosh.
Their main concern is your health and recovery. They work closely with doctors and insurance companies to make sure you get the proper medical treatment.
Initial consultations are free, so give them a call.
At the law offices of Scott Wormuth, we're with you all the way.
I'm Scott Wormuth. We've been fighting for your rights for more than 40 years.
All right, we're back with Melissa. Melissa, before the break, we're making some lighthearted jokes about people who are have difficult time, like either keeping their commitments or just telling the truth, right?
Yeah.
Before we go on to your passport, we like to ask questions from this deck of cards called Icebreakers when we come back from the break. So it's just another way for the audience to get to know us a little bit better, and I'll be answering also, okay?
Cool.
So here we go. What do you regret not doing when you were younger?
Oh, training for stunts, absolutely. If you don't get a head start on the gymnastics and martial arts from a young age, it's so hard to learn as an adult. And someone who did it in their 20s, it was much tougher.
So you wish you would have started at a young age, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, awesome. Probably talking more with my dad about his life. Yeah. And I can see in photos and some stories from relatives, like I didn't really know him, and I wish I did, like the cool parts of him, So that's one thing I really wish I did. And there's like this thing online where I see there's like books or games to ask your parents questions and stuff, and I would really like go for that,
Yeah.
So if you're listening or watching online, what's one thing you regret not doing when you were younger? Let us know in the comments. So before we go to the passport, we ask each guest to bring an item of significance. What did you bring with you today?
Yeah. My first ever, this one?
This one here.
This one?
Yes.
Middle? I brought my first ever entrepreneurial project, my Pasadena Coffee Passport. I know we talked a little bit about being an entrepreneur, especially as a woman. And so to be able to hold something in my hands, a product that I created, feels amazing.
How did it feel the first one that you got to feel and touch and look at?
Oh man, I think I probably stared at it for 2 hours throughout the day. I just kind of kept looking at it, watching the gold kind of reflect in the sun and flipping through it, and I made it. I actually made this, and I'm going for it, and gosh, I really hope they sell.
And what were the thoughts in your head when you were thinking of I think I can do this? Were you 100% confident? Were people yeah, you should pursue this. This is a great idea.
I had mixed responses. So I had some people, especially people like me who just love going to coffee shops, saying, that's amazing. I will absolutely buy one once it's made. And then I had some people, mostly people over the age of 40, 45, their response was, who would buy that? I don't really know how successful that would be. I don't think you'd get a lot of people buying that. I don't really see the point of it. So I definitely had some pushback, some doubting around me. Some people saying, why would you bother selling a physical product these days and not do an app or something? And so I definitely had I had some doubters.
I love the physical aspect of it.
I do too.
And it's sort of like the whole thing that you were talking about before about like community just existing out there in the like digital world, but not really existing versus like here's something that you can actually feel and touch.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and part of what I liked about it and why I was actually really insistent on doing a high quality material and the gold foil is the idea of it's something you can sit on your coffee table when you're done with it. So that when you have people over, like, oh, what's this? Now you get to have conversations and share about local coffee shops, share about some of your experiences. So if it was just an app, that wouldn't be part of it at all.
That's brilliant. And that's another part of the connection part. People having conversation.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and even seeing people use it while they're checking out at a coffee shop, you know, I will often, if you're ever out there using my passport, if I see you at the shop, I will walk up after you order and be like, hey, I saw you had the passport. I'm Melissa. I made that. But I also see other people asking like, oh, what is that? And if it was just on your phone, again, like when you have something like tangible and like physical that people could see and touch, it just invites conversation. No one's going to see it if it's just an app on your phone that you're tapping, or I wouldn't even know how to do that. But it's an absolutely different experience. It just inherently invites you to connect with other people about it.
Was it difficult for you to quiet those voices, those people that didn't really believe, or was that difficult, you know, in getting this off the ground?
A little bit. I will admit that there's a few people in particular that really gave me pause. And it was in particular a few men who were a little bit more traditionally successful. So for them to express doubt in like a business idea that I had, that gave me a little extra pause. What got me through that was this being a relatively low risk, like there was a few $1,000s investment that I hope to at least recuperate. But because it was low risk, I decided to just finally go for it after years of having random ideas of things to do. But yeah, there were some voices in particular that in my head were a little louder than the many voices who were supporting the idea.
Can you share a memorable story from its inception to actually creating it that you're like, oh, I don't know if I can overcome this, or were you going to go through it no matter what, or were there times where you're like, oh, I'm going to maybe give this up?
Oh, I definitely had a moment where I really considered throwing in the towel. You know, with everyone in the passport, every coffee shop, I had the owner or the manager sign an agreement just to make sure that they would actually commit to 1 year of stamping and providing the offers. And I had many, probably 6 or 7 of them who verbally said yes, but for weeks I was chasing down their signature on this agreement. Oh, yeah, I'm in. Great. The agreement is attached. I really need you to sign it. I can't put this in the passport and print it unless I know you're for sure going to follow through on your end. Showing up at their coffee shop, hoping I could catch them. And it got to a point where I had a deadline with the print shop to get it in for print because I wanted it out for the holidays so people could buy it as gifts. And my goal was 15 shops. I wanted to do the top 15 shops in Pasadena. And like a week before my deadline to get it to the printer, I think I still had 5 or 6 people who hadn't signed. And I really had a moment of, after all of this work, all the design, all the meetings, everything I've done, this might not even happen at all. And I hustled. I literally called, texted, emailed, showed up, and I tracked down all but one signature.
And you left them out?
I left them out.
Oh.
Sadly. And actually a month ago, one of the owners from that shop called and was like, I'm so sorry. It's just been so busy. I dropped the ball. Is there any way I can still be involved? I'm like, it's printed, so. I
have some thoughts about that kind of response. I don't know that it's all true that, they just got so busy. Just because I've experienced a whole lot of similar responses in not just this career, but other ones, right? Like they sort of see the end product or whatever, and then they have the regret.
They're like, oh, actually, that does look cool. That's legit. Now, yeah, too late.
Yeah. Do you ever lose your keys or phone?
Rarely. Sometimes.
Okay. Someone told me that no one ever has a difficult time with that. it's a value thing. And I was like, what? And they're like, if I gave you a diamond bracelet and I, put that onto your wallet,
the odds of you
would you
losing
lose
that.
it? And I was like, oh my gosh, that's interesting, right?
Yeah.
So people will make time for those that they value.
Yeah. Which, I mean, I can't say that I blame them. I'm sure they, as someone who's like worked as part of a coffee shop, I know you get approached with so many offers, partnership offers. I'm sure they get inundated. So part of me is glad that now that I have sort of one success, that future years, it won't be as hard to get people to have full buy-in.
Can you describe a moment when you saw the impact of your work bringing people together in Pasadena?
Yes. I have one sort of favorite memory where I was at The Boy and the Bear, and this couple came in. I'm pretty sure they were on their first date, like first or second. You can tell they were like early into their dating, and they both had their passports, and they were like showing each other what stamps they had gotten and talking to each other. And of course, after they ordered, I went up and was like, hi, you guys have the coffee passports? They're like, yeah, these are so cool. I'm like, oh, I'm the creator actually. And they're like, oh my gosh, can we get a selfie? And that was just such a cool moment. Not only to see that they were kind of having this shared experience over it, but then that I got to like have a little glimmer of being part of that experience. That was really fun.
Oh, wow. Awesome. How did your background in social work and ministry influence your approach to community building projects like the Coffee Passport and Nightcap Collective?
Great question. I will say, throughout the different types of work that I've done, just understanding the way people work, the different barriers people might have to building relationships, understanding that there's so much under the surface of a person, right? The way they grew up, their conflict style, all these different things, just their personality, their outgoingness, all these factors, and realizing how much intentionality there needs to be to help take people from all these different, walks of life, backgrounds, especially for people who find it difficult or anxiety producing, that there really does need to be a lot of intentionality for it to be accessible to a wide range of people. So I think, just understanding people and understanding that you can't just put on an event and say, here's an event, come build community. There has to be a lot of intentionality around it, which I want to credit. There's a book called The Art of Gathering by Priya Parker. Amazing. Can't recommend it enough. And her whole book is just about that concept, basically, that you need to be intentional from the way you invite people to the structure of it, to the way that it ends, to really understand what you're trying to accomplish in the event. So if it's community building, you have to put a lot of intention for that to actually happen.
Other than the 5 coffee shops who are sort of straggling at the end there, what other difficulties have you encountered in trying to bring about the passport or the Nightcap Collective?
Yeah, I mean, if I can speak a little bit to really just more of my internal emotional journey of being able to call myself an entrepreneur and being willing to put myself out there and taking initiative. That has been the hardest part out of all of it. Like, not the time and energy, not the work, but getting over that self-doubt and the imposter syndrome. That's been the hardest part.
Feeling like, who am I to be the person to put this together and say, I'm the creator of this thing?
And what if I fail? And then the people who told me it might not be a good idea were right, which I don't know, why should that matter? But am I really capable of making something that's going to work out?
Mm. And how do you measure that with the Coffee Passport?
I mean, I guess I can't help but have a little bit of a lens of the numbers, right? I mean, I had no idea how many people would buy this. I hoped it would be like, a tiny part of me was like, maybe I'll sell thousands. And then a part of me thought, gosh, what if I can't even make up the cost of what it took to make them? At this point, I I have sold about 1,000 of them, which, you know what? Great. For like a first time business venture, that's great. And I did make a small profit, and that's amazing. But for me, it's not, obviously like having a little bit of financial success is great, but the self-confidence that gives me to go, you know what, an idea that I had, not only was I able to bring it to life in a way that I'm actually proud of, but I'm seeing people get excited about it. I'm running into like a mom and daughter who talk about they go on their, weekend dates together because of this, or a couple who this is like their little date guidebook, or, friends who are getting together based on the shops in the passport. All of that combined, like, yes, the numbers, the pride of like bringing something to fruition, and then also just seeing that people are connecting and building new memories over it. It's amazing.
Yeah. It's awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
What does that do for you going into your next project, like the Highland Park? Like, are you like, yeah, look at this thing that I did? Not that you're boastful, but like it must really give you a boost of confidence, right, to go in there.
I will say that I feel a lot more confidence in a way that gives me ease and like peace. When I was approaching coffee shop owners for the Pasadena one, having never done it before, and I had no way to tell them, oh, I think X amount of people will buy this. I was really having to paint a picture that I had never seen before. So that was hard. So going into Highland Park, being able to say, hey, here you can hold in your hands what the Pasadena one looked like. This is how many I've sold up until now. So this is how many people you can expect to come and take advantage of this offer. Way easier. And being able to, even show the Instagram and, show that there's engagement, that people are posting every time not every time, but a lot of people go and they use their passport, they take a picture of it, they're sharing it to their friends. Way easier when you have some history to reference. Yeah.
Wow. Well, it's really beautiful. I'm glad that you brought it today, because now I get to actually like hold it in my hand. So I'm excited. So Melissa, we're going to go on to the final segment of this show, where we're going to learn about what you like to eat in the San Gabriel Valley.
Yes.
So Melissa, this is what we call the SGB3, and we get to learn your 3 favorite places to eat in the San Gabriel Valley. So what would be number 1?
Oh gosh, I have to rank them in order too. 1, 2, 3.
Well, they don't have to be ranked, but there's 3. Okay. So number 1 of 3.
Okay. One that I really love, and my friends and family who hear this are like, oh, she's talking about this place again. I really love Teddy's in Pasadena, Teddy's Cochina. Their specialty tacos are the best tacos I've ever had.
Okay. Specialty tacos. What's a specialty taco?
Like they have a taco chino, which has like grilled cheese inside of the tortilla. So they are just like really unique like flavor combos. So like not necessarily just tortilla, meat, onion, and cilantro, but they have like really unique. Yeah.
Teddy's. Where is this?
Teddy's. It's in Pasadena, like Colorado and Allen. It's not typically busy, which shocks me. I just think not enough people know about it, which I think partly is why I tell my friends, you've got to go. People are like, where do you recommend to eat around here? Or what are the best tacos you had? I'm like, you've got to go to Teddy's.
Teddy's. Wait, Colorado and Allen. There's like a Frederico's Bakery, or there was a Frederico's Bakery there.
I'm not familiar. I'm gluten-free, so
okay.
I might not know the bakeries as well.
Yeah. And then the second place.
I also really love Kaiba, Japanese. I love sushi, and they have the most amazing spicy tuna on crispy rice.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that one's also in Pasadena.
Kaiba. Mm-hmm. Awesome. And what else do you like to get there?
Any of their specialty rolls. Their specialty sushi rolls. I love those.
Okay. Yeah. Awesome. And a third place?
Third place, this has food, but I go there more for a coffee drink. Is that work?
Yeah.
Okay. It's actually not in my passport because it's not geared primarily towards coffee. But Bubble Puff, it's a boba shop, and they have such an amazing latte with messy boba. It's like a brown sugar boba. It's kind of really of a dessert, but so good.
This is across from PCC.
Yeah.
Oh, it's Bubble Puff and tea, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
And what else do you get? So you go there for a drink, but it's not necessarily a coffee shop.
It's really more of a boba shop. They have some food items, although most of them are not gluten-free. I go there for the latte with messy boba. It's actually to the point, this is a point of pride for me. I walk in, she'll go, hey, and start making my drink because she just knows that's what I'm going to get.
Oh, wow. Okay. So you're quite the regular there then.
Yeah, I'm a bit of a regular, yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing those with us. Melissa, thank you so much for coming here and sharing your story with us and for producing the passport. By the time this comes out, the Highland Park one will be soon to come out, right?
Yes.
So definitely go check those out. I don't know that the Pasadena Passport, like it's a yearly thing, right? So you may have to get the new one, or how does that work?
Each year, it's going to be a different city or neighborhood. So Pasadena was 2025. 2026 will be Highland Park. I don't know what 2027 will be.
Oh, why not just renew it and just be like, hey, you want to?
I've thought about this.
Okay.
I've thought about this. I do think far less people would buy it a second time. So what I'm really going for is people in the LA area, because people will drive, in the LA area up to 20, 30 minutes to check out new coffee shops. So I really hope to kind of attract people who are similar to me in that we want to venture around and experience all the best coffee shops in our area. So partly it keeps up demand, but it also then opens the door for, opening up a new neighborhood of coffee to people.
Okay, awesome. Oh, some questions about coffee shops for my own interest before we end the show.
I love talking about coffee shops.
So in the coffee shops in Pasadena, what is just the best one for strictly coffee and coffee beans?
I would say Intelligentsia, and I feel like I could get some hate for that because it's more of a chain, but I love their Black Cat espresso.
Okay. And what about for like specialty lattes and specialty drinks?
Ooh, that's tough. Probably Mandarin.
Mandarin.
Yeah.
And what about for a quiet, nice, easy to get a plug workspace?
Oh, workspace. Okay.
And good Wi-Fi.
That's actually tougher and tougher to find these days. Rosebud is probably your best bet, but only Wi-Fi on weekdays. On weekends, they turn off the Wi-Fi.
Interesting.
I really like. Yeah.
Interesting. And what is the best place to like socialize and there's like a buzz atmosphere?
I'd say either Jameson Brown or Jones Coffee. And those are both no Wi-Fi places. And it shows in the fact that you go and you feel a total different sense of community and connection there.
Awesome. I'm so glad I asked you. I was going to forget that. Well, Melissa, thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks, Russell.
Well, there you go. Another episode in the books. I hope you enjoyed that episode. I really did. You get to see this, creative journey from someone and, sort of the struggles that I guess maybe all entrepreneurs go through. I know I certainly went through, but, this thought that creeps in your mind, like, who am I to do this thing? Who am I to create a coffee passport? Who am I to be a host of a show about the San Gabriel Valley? And I would just say to that, just do it. Just go after your dreams, your passions, and, quiet those voices of doubters, because you're never going to be criticized by people doing more than you often. So go out there, do and pursue the things that make you happy. So thank you for spending this time with us. If you like this kind of content, please subscribe. Don't forget to like and share. And if you want to check out the full catalog of episodes, go to our website, mysgv.net. And until next week, we'll see you then. Thank you for joining us on the MySGV podcast. Check out more of our content on our website, mysgv.net. This show was produced by Scott Wormuth, directed by Russell Mano, edited by Victoria Allers, and original music by Yone OG. If you'd like to join us next week as we capture and share more stories from our diverse community, feel welcome.
Nice mother. No kind of mother.